Inflation, economic collapse, crime, and yet why are so many Russians moving to Argentina? Folks, this is Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist channel, and let's check this out and comment later. Pregnant Russians flock to Argentina, escaping war. That's the Argentine t-shirt, and those stars, 3 stars for the 3 World Cups that Argentina won, which is kind of cool. It's in Mendoza. Like many Russians, Alla Privolka and her husband Andrei moved to Argentina to have their baby live in the South American country. Babies born in Argentina gain local citizenship, giving Russian families access to a passport that allows entry to many countries without a visa. That's the key point. Many are going to Argentina so as to have their babies there, and then you get your Argentine passport, and the rest of the family can get an Argentine passport, a concept many of you guys in the United States are familiar with, the idea of an anchor baby. Now, the thing about the Argentine passport is that it's very welcomed in most countries, and because of this special relationship that Argentina has with Russia, and given that the influence that Russia has been spreading all over South America for many years, while the United States apparently didn't realize what was going on, same thing with China, well, the government in Argentina is very much aligned in ideology with the dictator in Russia. Both communist, left-wing, authoritarian regimes, and therefore Argentina is one of the few countries that allows Russians to just move in these days.
All that we could call
we lost all that we call
home,
yeah, of course.
In very fast time, and Argentina was so kind to us with its nice laws, with documents for our baby.
That's one of the things. Argentina is indeed, in spite of all the bad things that I often talk about my country, we are very welcoming people. And it's not just like saying it. No, it really is in terms of most people can just move to Argentina and with very little issues just reside there. It's still very much a country that is very, it's not like in the United States, because in the United States you have a country that, oh yeah, we have so many immigrants. Sure, but usually you have a large percentage of the population that looks at anyone coming from abroad, and especially from the Mexican border, like, yeah, this is a problem, this is a pain in the ass, we don't want to have any illegal immigration. In Argentina, that is still not the case. Even when people just walk across the border, mostly people in Argentina are still okay with that. And it gets to some points where they just cross the border just to use your hospitals and then go back to their own countries. And even in neighboring countries, they advertise Argentine hospitals as free for you to go and then go back, which is abusing a system that Argentina still doesn't find in itself to change. But you have things like these. At the same time, it is also true that, well, people end up going there. And I have no doubt these two and their baby, I have no doubt there are people that want to have a good life. And given how things are these days, you want to have as many people and as many families as possible, right? But still, the idea that you just go to a country so as to get the passport and then go elsewhere and just getting yourself a useful document is kind of not what this was about. It was about having actual immigration, going to the country, staying there, and growing the population, not just get yourself a passport and go somewhere else, right?
He is not. I hope he will be real Argentinian, not like to take passport and go somewhere around. No. I worry that he can get into mobilization.
Yeah.
And
yeah, of course.
I'm afraid that he can die on this war, and I will grow.
This is why many of these are going to Argentina and pretty much anywhere where they can. You cannot blame these people. I mean, would you want your husband to go die invading fucking Ukraine because of a tiny, sick, old little dictator's ambitions? Of course not. And I'd much rather him and them finding a good life for themselves elsewhere than just going and dying, probably killing people in a obscene invasion like the one you're seeing in Ukraine. So you cannot blame them for not wanting to get dragged into a damn invasion.
My baby alone.
Now, at the same time, it's also the case that Argentina is not easy. It's not an easy country. It is dangerous. Inflation is terrible. So they don't have the war, but they have to struggle with other things. And as you see here, you see lots of this. Because of what I was explaining, the amount of immigration in Argentina, there's lots of local communities. There's probably a significant welcoming by the existing Russian people already living in Argentina, just as it is with Ukrainians. There's a lot of Ukrainians going to Argentina as well. Now, the difference is that Ukrainians are usually welcomed everywhere. All over Europe, people are opening their homes for Ukrainians who just find a place to live in. It's a fact. That's how it's working. I know for a fact that's the case. So you have that for Ukrainians, and some Ukrainians are going to Argentina, but it's mostly Russians because they're not welcome pretty much in many other countries. So you do have that existing community. Russian arrived December, husband Maxim, and their baby.
I never thought like a year before that I'll be a mother in Argentina, and so I think if someone will come to me a year ago and say, okay, you'll give birth in Argentina, I would be very surprised.
It's very difficult because it's for all of them. It's first grandchild, and they really want to meet him.
Yeah, and that is tough, especially moving in such a hurry because of forces that you don't control. It's not just like you made a decision, but man, would the guy be better off being dead or being involved in something like that? Of course not. So in spite of everything, sure, I think it's probably what most reasonable people would have done, giving the choice, giving the option of doing that. It's a best of what you have. Now, it is usually the case that people struggle. Same thing with people that have gone to Brazil. For many of the Ukrainians that have gone to Brazil, and Russians, Brazil, Argentina, or Latin America in general, they struggle. There is an existing community that does welcome them, both ethnic Russians or Ukrainians or from wherever they're coming from, and locals, because people in Argentina, we're nice. We're nice people. We're usually very warm and welcoming. The fact that it's such a complicated mess in terms of the economy, the fact that it's a lot more dangerous than what they're used to in their own Russian towns, likely, and they're not local, so as to know how to handle yourself. Those are things that usually people struggle with. And I remember some of the Syrian refugees. I mean, people that were living in cities that were actively being bombed and living in the rubble of what was their own towns. They still, after a year in Argentina, they still chose to go back to their countries that were just destroyed by war. It was still easier for them to do that than staying in Argentina because of that. Some people will adapt better than others, but man, there's a lesson there. Have your papers in order. Know what you're doing in case of a plan B or plan C, if that's all you have left. If you have to move right now, if you have to evacuate, not your city, not your state, your entire country right now, where would you go? What would be your plan? What is it that at least you have role played in your own mind? Like, I would be going to France because I have my brother already living there. No, I actually have family living in Panama. My grandpa moved to Panama and he's okay there. Okay, that's where I'm going. you have to do these things so as to have a much better chance if you ever find yourself in this position. Folks, as always, if you want to learn more about the economic aspect of survival and preparedness and going through an economic collapse, surviving the economic collapse, as well as street survival skills, my books are available in Amazon, following those links below. See you next time. Take care.